Time now for our Life and Info segment, where we focus on information useful for your everyday life. And I think we've all experienced by now running late for work or an appointment that's too far to reach by foot but too close for a bus ride. And a number of so-called micro mobility platforms are aiming to close this gap. We have our Oh Soo-young, I'm pleased to say, in the studio to discuss some of these solutions. Hello, Soo-young. So we've had these kind of bike sharing things around for quite a while now, but these micro mobility platforms have really exploded in popularity all of a sudden. What changed?
Well, that's right. In recent months, we've seen a sudden boom of smartphone applications that rent out dockless bicycles and electric scooters. And as you mentioned, bike-sharing apps have been around for about 3 years or so, mostly for leisure, a ride by the river, for instance. Now, what's changed in recent months is that the new platforms are optimizing services for commutes and short-distance journeys around the city.
Our service helps reduce commute time substantially and also makes it more enjoyable. Our users mostly use G-bikes for 15 to 20 minutes at a time, although some use it for much longer. The response to our service has been great so far, with the number of users amounting to 20 to 30 times more than what we anticipated.
The biggest advantage they have is that they are dockless. The biggest bicycle sharing platform at the moment is Bike, which has designated bike stands for rental and return. But with a growing number of bike sharing firms like G-Bike, you can look for an available bicycle near you using GPS, unlock it within seconds, hop on and just be on your way. If you have trouble locating the bike, you can activate a bell to find it. And then once you've reached your destination, you don't have to even look around for a bike stand. You can simply leave it there for someone else to use.
Well, it's nice to see some video of you riding your bike in the park.
I don't know about that, but...
You should have been wearing a helmet, of course, but those bikes don't come with helmets. If you want to be extra safe, you should bring your own bicycle.
Or people steal them if you leave them in
so
the basket.
Be careful you don't get your helmet stolen. But it's very convenient. But let's talk about the price, because that's what most people are interested in hearing about. Does it beat taking what are very reasonably priced buses here in South Korea?
Oh, I would say it definitely does. G-Bike, for instance, it lets you borrow a bicycle for 10 minutes at a time for just 200 won. That's less than 20 cents or 1/5 of the price of a single journey bus fare. So you can, of course, cycle as long as you like without having to extend it. You can simply extend it every 10 minutes just by, you just continue riding it. On the other hand, bike sharing apps we've had before, they require you to actually return the bike and borrow it again if you want to continue using it. So again, these new platforms are becoming much more convenient.
Yeah, like you say, it is more convenient and reasonably priced to use these shared bicycles. Once you've registered, it's pretty easy just to pick up the bike, take it where you want, drop it off, and someone else can start using it as well. Let's talk a bit about electric scooters then, because I've really seen a lot more people zipping around the streets of Seoul on these electric scooters these days. So tell us more about that.
Right, and the launch was very recent, actually. Electric scooters, they launched last year in the country on a platform called Going, which lets you borrow a bicycle for just 5 minutes for about 1,000 won. That's less than $1. And they're very useful because, it's just so good for commute. It's very compact and it's not even as big or, lumpy as a bicycle. So, yeah.
Scooters have largely been used for leisure, but it's an ideal means of transport in a complex city. It's also eco-friendly. 80% of cars on the road are used by the driver alone. Electric scooters are 1/100th of their size and also consume 1/100th the amount of energy without emitting greenhouse gases. The number of users and the level of usage has grown threefold since March 1st.
So it's a bit pricier than renting a dockless bike, but it's way more compact and speedier to get around while beating the traffic, as electric scooters can travel up to 25 kilometers per hour.
That's pretty fast, especially if you're stuck in peak traffic in Seoul, you'd be lucky to get up to 10 kilometers an hour sometimes, of course. But I knew they were quick, but I didn't realize they could go quite that fast.
Right, well, I actually got to have a go, and it takes off quite abruptly as well, so you do really want to be careful. And in fact, it's required by the law to wear a helmet, so you should really make sure you have one with you.
Well, in fact, I hear there have been a number of safety issues regarding these electric scooters. Even though they've only been out a few months, I've had a few close shaves myself.
Well, yes, it's quite funny you say that, actually,
Because they sneak up behind you, you can't hear them.
They do. They're like silent assassins.
Yeah.
They're actually not supposed to be on sidewalks or bicycle lanes.
Is that right? So
yeah.
it's illegal for them to be...
It's actually illegal under the current law.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell them next time.
I see a lawsuit coming up there.
Yeah.
But they're banned currently because they could pose danger to pedestrians and cyclists because they travel very quickly.
They certainly do, yeah.
Right, up to 25 kilometers per hour. So right now, they're currently allowed on roads alongside cars, which means you need to have a driver's license. And platform firms really aren't very happy about this. They're complaining that this restricts usage while and they're trying to develop some insurance packages to actually cover potential accidents. But given this surge in demand recently for micro mobility services and the very promising outlook on market growth, given the increasing number of single households as well as some environmental concerns, it does look like the government might actually ease some of these regulations. For example, allowing electric scooters to actually go on bicycle lanes and maybe even be used without a driver's license. But of course, we'll have to see about that.
Yeah, well, we would prefer to see more experienced drivers riding these scooters around, and if the city government can make room for bicycle paths, you would assume that they would be able to make room also for these electric scooters so we can walk the sidewalks without fear for our lives. Thank you very much, Soo-young. We do appreciate your report today, and we'll see you again next time.
Thanks, Mark.